Now, we all know this net zero by 2050 looks like a done deal. It's just the details to be thrashed out. Now, I think it's a mistake. I don't think you should sign up as a nation to goals when you have no idea whether or not they're actually achievable, even though it's 30 years away. And when you know our performance on emissions reductions already outstrips most other nations, and when you know global emissions are likely to continue to rise for at least a decade or so. If we must sign up to appease the bullies and we don't care whether we meet the target or not, then on the other hand, that's weak. That's unbecoming for a significant country. You don't sign up unless you actually believe it. But if we sign up and implement drastic policies to try to get there, regardless of what the rest of the world does, then we're going to do harm to ourselves, aren't we? We've already seen electricity prices rise drastically over the past 2 decades, and we've pushed and subsidised renewable energy. That means we've squandered our cheap energy advantage in this country. And of course, we already face real reliability of supply pressures too. So a serious attempt to match the 2050 net zero goal, if we try to do that with some action early, that's just going to exacerbate everything that we've got at the moment, all the problems that we've dealt with in energy already. So if we must go close to eliminating all carbon dioxide emissions from our energy sector, we simply cannot continue to turn our back on nuclear energy, the emissions-free, reliable power source that most other developed countries use to some degree at least. Indeed, the UK, which already gets about 20% of its electricity from nuclear generation, it recognises its net zero plans need to include more investment in nuclear power.
So we're making big bets on hydrogen, we're making bets on solar and hydro, and yes, of course, on nuclear as well, nuclear for our baseload. And we're making such massive progress that we've now pledged to switch entirely to green power generation by 2035.
Yeah, when you talk solar and hydrogen, it's a bet, but it's an investment in nuclear energy. They know they can get it. And there are many Liberal and National MPs in this country who want to overturn our country's irrational ban on nuclear energy. We're the only G20 nation that bans nuclear power. We're the world's 3rd largest exporter of uranium, yet we won't use it ourselves. As you know, I'll be airing a documentary on this issue this Monday night here on Sky, and you'll hear more in that from some intelligent, informed environmentalists who are much keener than me to reduce emissions, but they do recognise that the way to do it is through nuclear energy. It's the only way to do it, both in Australia and around the world. But in this country, all too often, the level of environmental debate we get, well, it's like this. Yes, those nutters from Extinction Rebellion are still not extinct, and they're still rebelling. Today it was in Adelaide where they glued themselves to the ground or to prams or something, using products made from hydrocarbons to stick themselves to things made with hydrocarbons, proving that not all carbon-based life forms are intelligent. But we have to wonder how much longer Australia can ignore a sensible debate about nuclear energy. Certainly the Deputy Prime Minister seems to think now's the time.
I think this nation's getting closer, but it requires the Labor Party to be brave enough and statesman enough to say, if you want baseline reliable power, then nuclear has to be in the mix. Now, whether you pick it or not, it is the problem at the moment, because you can't even make a decision that way because of legislative restrictions, and now that is up to the Labor Party.
Yes, indeed, Labor would have to climb on board at some stage. You won't get the Greens backing this in. I mean, we want power that's reliable, right? And most people in this country also want power that's emissions-free. There's only one form of energy known to humankind that fits those twin criteria with proven and affordable technology. That's nuclear. And we've got more uranium than we could ever use in this country. So nuclear energy is inevitable for Australia. All that's stopping it is politics. And the politics appears to be changing fast.